powerful tumbling, graceful turns, dangerous jumps on a narrow beam, and hurling your body through the air and landing on nothing but your 2 feet. These actions are all done in the sport of gymnastics. Thrilling and exciting, this sport takes energy, commitment, persistence, and dedication. Gymnastics is not a sport for the weak of heart, but for the person with an extra amount of patience and diligence. As a former gymnast and gymnastics coach, I know that it's important for a person to be strong, flexible, and agile while you are participating in gymnastics. It can be a dangerous sport for those participating, but training and physical conditioning make a person more able to keep their body safe. The history of gymnastics started back in ancient Greece. According to the source, gymnastics.isport.com, which is a leading site on sports information. Greek soldiers would use gymnastics to get ready for war. The skills that they did in gymnastics, such as running, jumping, tumbling, mounting, and dismounting, were all thought to be important skills needed for battle. As a result, gymnastics became an important sport to the Greeks and to their education. Eventually, other countries and continents adapted these same principles and also had their soldiers practicing the sports of gymnastics. Even the United States military in the early 19th century began adapting the gymnastics skills into their training program for their soldiers. By the 20th century, the U.S. Army made mandatory drills which incorporated gymnastics into them also. This helped their soldiers to gain muscle and strength. However, in the beginning of the 20th century, military armies from all over focused more on tactical and advanced weaponry than putting an emphasis on physical strength. Even though gymnastics skills were not as high of a priority for military training, it still became a respected sport on its own. The modern sport of gymnastics really started to get more developed in the 18th and 19th centuries. 2 men named Johann Friedrich Gutsmuth and Friedrich Ludwig Hahn were physical educators who developed different pieces of gymnastics equipment that are used today. Some of these equipment are the horizontal and parallel bars, vaulting horse, and the balance beam. Friedrich Ludwig Hahn is known as the father of gymnastics because he first taught boys how to use these different pieces of equipment and how to apply certain techniques to them. This is how the history of the sport of gymnastics was born. In the year of 1896, gymnastics was first introduced into the Olympic Games. At first, only men were able to compete, but by the year of 1928, women were now able to compete as well. There are many types of gymnastics equipment. The men have 6 different pieces of equipment, and the women have 4. The men's equipment consists of pommel horse and rings, the parallel and horizontal bars, the floor exercise, and the vault. The women's equipment consists of a balance beam, vault, floor exercise, and uneven bars. For the men, the rings and the pommel horse require intense strength. The pommel horse is a metal object similar to a vault. It is covered in foam rubber and leather and has 2 handles on it for the male gymnast to hold onto while performing their skills. The rings also require intense strength, as there are 2 of them that hang from cables that are attached to a metal frame. These rings are made out of wood or synthetic material, and the gymnast must hold on to these while performing their skills. The 3 different types of bars are parallel, uneven, and horizontal. The bars are all attached to a steel frame, and they are made up of a wood cover fiberglass bar. The bars are used for giant swings, handstands, and also release moves. Balance beam for women is 16.4 feet long and 5 inches wide. It has a suede material on it to help absorb the impacts of jumps and flips. Floor exercise, which is used by both men and women, is 39 by 39 feet and has springs for the first layer covered by a foam layer, and then lastly on top there is a carpet layer. They use the floor exercise to do tumbling and also dance moves. Lastly, the vault, which is used by both men and women, is like a flat cushion table which is 3 feet by 3 feet. There is a springboard right in front of it to assist the gymnast in flipping over it. The rules and regulations of gymnastics is that the hair must be pulled back and away from the face, and undergarments must not be visible. Once a routine is started, it cannot be restarted for any reason unless the gymnast is interrupted by no fault of their own. Judges rate a routine on difficulty, and they give it a score out of 10. There is also another score given based on execution of skills. Minor errors are 0.1 of a point, while more serious errors are 0.2 of a point to 0.4 of a point. Every time a gymnast falls off a piece of equipment, a half a point is deducted from their final score. Olympic gymnasts must be at least 16 years old to compete, but there is no maximum age limit for competitors. The history, equipment used, and rules and regulations for gymnastics are all important parts of the sport. The history shows how the sport evolved over the years. The equipment used shows the complexity behind the skills performed on them. And the rules and regulations are important in keeping the sport professional and fair for all competitors. Gymnastics is a sport that is still being done today by the young and the old. It is enjoyed by people who like watching amazing feats done by ordinary people who make what seems impossible and make it possible.